Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I call this April 18th, 2018 meeting of the Albuquerque-Bernalillo County Water Utility Authority to order. Commissioner Talbert and Trustee Ryle are excused. All other members are present. Now I'd like to ask you to join me in a moment of silence and then the Pledge of Allegiance. And please, during the moment of silence, let's think of the Reardon family. I think so many of us know the family, and of course, Michael Reardon is a member of our city family, and what a great tragic loss. So if you would join me, please, in a moment of silence. Thank you all. Let's get started with other business. I always like to start with that one. This is a water report, the 2017 Consumer Confidence Report. Mr. Kelly, are you here and ready? Okay. Good evening, Mr. Kelly.
Good evening. All right, I didn't realize I was up first, but okay. I'm Mark Kelly. I'm the Compliance Division Manager, and tonight I'm here to talk to you about the 2017 Consumer Confidence Report, which is the report that gets sent to all the customers' homes, which tells them about all the monitoring that we've done for the year of 2017. And I'll be calling it the CCR throughout, but it's not Claridans. So we have a CCR because of the Federal Safe Drinking Water Act requires it. We also want to have a CCR to notify the public what was detected during required monitoring for our contaminants. And it lets the public know how our drinking water quality compares to the Safe Drinking Water Act. And it shows our customers that our drinking water is in compliance with the Safe Drinking Water Act. There's certain required information to be in every consumer confidence report. We'll delve into these individually, but things like water system information, our sources, certain definitions are required to be in there, the contaminants that are detected, showing compliance with other drinking water regulations, as well as educational information. So in terms of the general information, the report shows the board members, yourselves, how the Water Authority is structured. It has phone numbers to let customers call us, and there's also websites included in the report so customers can get additional information. We show our sources of water, our groundwater, and our surface water. We have different sampling regimes based on some of the sources. And it includes definitions. And some of the most important definitions are MCL, maximum contaminant level. These are the levels set by EPA of constituents in water that if it's over a level, it's a violation. These are things like 10 parts per billion for arsenic and so on. And when we're looking at MCLs in all of our testing, we're looking at very small concentrations, things in the parts per million and parts per billion range. And to give you kind of an analogy of how small that is, an M&M weighs about 1 gram. So if you cut an M&M into 1,000 pieces and put that 1,000th of an M&M into your drinking water bottles there, which are approximately 1 liter, you have 1 milligram per liter. If you cut that M&M into 1,000,000 pieces and you put that millionth of an M&M into your drinking water bottle, you will have 1 microgram per liter. So we're testing very small amounts of contaminants in our water. Like I said, we show everything that is detected. We sample at the entry points of the distribution system. These are places like reservoirs where multiple wells are filling a single reservoir. We sample at that reservoir. We sample our direct inject wells, and we also sample the surface water treatment plant. So we're sampling for things like metals, nutrients, organics, radionuclides, and disinfectants. We also do special sampling at the San Juan Chama drinking water plant as required by EPA. There we're sampling, we focus on things like turbidity, which is a measurement of the cloudiness of the water, also minerals and nutrients, as well as disinfectants. We do sampling in the distribution system. Many of our distribution sites are customer taps that we go out and sample for microbiological or bacteria. My staff samples 242 different sites every single month for bacteria, and then we report the results in this section of the CCR. We're also sampling for disinfectants to make sure that our water is carrying a disinfectant at all times throughout the system, and we're also looking for disinfectant byproducts, which could be an issue if there's too much of that disinfectant, as well as looking at our lead and copper is shown in this distribution system as well. We have to show that we're in compliance with not just the Safe Drinking Water Act, but other drinking water regulations like the unregulated contaminant monitoring rules. These are requirements by EPA to test for things that aren't necessarily regulated at this time, but the EPA wants to gather data to see about proposed regulations in the future. So if we get a detect of anything that they've asked us to look into, we publish it in the CCR. There's a certain health effects language that is required in every CCR, and this is based on the EPA requirements, things like if consuming this amount over a certain amount of time may lead to this issue or that issue. We also have in there places where folks can get more information, and there's an EPA hotline to call as well for more information. The CCR does allow us to give a little bit of optional info to the customers. This year we've highlighted Water 2120. Some of the optional things include process schematics of, say, the drinking water plant, as well as we talk about our groundwater monitoring around Kirtland Air Force Base, conservation, and then issues in the news like lead testing. For the last several years, we've done voluntary lead testing where customers can call up and we will test their homes for lead. We published those results in the CCR. This last year, in 2017, 53 customers called, and all of their samples were well below the action level for both lead and copper. There's also links in the CCR to go to get additional information. We publish water data online, and you can click on the Know Your Zone part of our water quality map, and you can even put your address in. The little address on this slide is where we're standing right now, City Hall, and you can see what the exact water quality is for both our compliance monitoring and the voluntary monitoring in your zone at your house, because it does vary slightly across the service area. As I said before, we're going to continue doing voluntary testing for requested customers. They can sign up online or call us and we'll go out and take a test. This year, we're required to do our lead and copper testing, and that testing is done in the customer's home, and it has to be in houses built between 1982 and 1987 that haven't done major repairs on their interior plumbing. Those houses are becoming harder and harder for us to find because people do repairs or they just knock them down and build something else. So we're offering a rebate that is advertised in the CCR that qualifying customers can sign up online and get a rebate on their water bill of $20 if they're willing to sign up for our lead and copper monitoring program. And everyone, when we take those tests as required by EPA, they get the results of what is happening in their own home as well. They don't have to look it up online or anything. We provide the data directly to the customer. I'm also here to talk about our pharmaceutical.
Mark,
Yeah.
excuse me if I can interrupt you for just
sure.
a second. Commissioner O'Malley has a question.
Thank you very much. What years did you say that the houses would?
1982 to 1987. And those years are selected because that was the last years that lead solder was commercially available for use on soldering pipes together. So those are basically the newest homes that may have lead solder on their interior plumbing pipes. So that's why they are selected as the years.
The interior of the copper pipes typically, or?
Well, it's the solder that goes that connects like to an elbow. So it's usually on the outside, but it does have some contact, very minor contact with the water. Usually a film of calcium is created around that on the interior of the pipe, which protects the consumer from having the lead directly to the water. But yeah, those are the pipes that we're looking for.
Okay, so but there could be some migration of the lead into the water.
Yeah, they're the most vulnerable.
Okay.
So far from our testing, we have not had issues because we do have good corrosion control where we do have that film that builds up very slightly on the inside of people's pipes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. So we're also, I was also asked to talk about our pharmaceutical and personal care product sampling that is going to be going on. In 2011, we did a report that looked at sampling from 2009 through 11 of different pharmaceuticals and personal care products that are found throughout our water and wastewater system. Back then, we sampled at 5 locations, and we had very low levels of detection of a few of these contaminants. We are revamping that report again and have started that monitoring again. We did have, this slide shows that 92% of the time nothing was detected in our finished drinking water. And times that things were detected, they were very small. So we're talking about nanograms per liter. Earlier, I talked about milligrams and micrograms, and nanograms is another 1,000th smaller than micrograms. So if we think about our M&M, it's a billionth of an M&M is 1 nanogram per liter. Things were found in the water at very small amounts. And we're going to be looking at what is going to be, what do we have now? These are our 2011 results, and we're redoing the study to see what is going on right now. We sampled before in the river at the effluent, or not effluent, but the produced water from the surface water treatment plant. We sampled at the beginning of the wastewater treatment plant and at the end of the wastewater treatment plant. And now we're also going to be adding several points in the collection system, as well as our north side reuse and the south side reuse to determine if there are any pharmaceutical or personal care products in those. Our scheduling, we've had the first event has happened already in January. We're looking at 4 events in total. And then during each sampling, we're trying to match the water as it goes through the system, so starting in the Rio Grande and then proceeding through the water treatment plant to the collection system, to the beginning of the wastewater treatment plant, and then the end of the wastewater treatment plant. After all the sampling, we will create a report that's similar to the 2011 report and compare the results from today to then and present the findings to this board. Sometime we're looking at spring of 2019 if all goes well. Are there any questions?
Commissioner O'Malley.
Thank you. So you talk about pharmaceuticals and personal care products.
Uh-huh.
What do you mean by that, personal care products?
Oh, those can be anything from things that are found in like makeup or shampoo or, like colognes. There's a section of contaminants that are not necessarily drugs that you might ingest, but also it's basically a catch-all of emerging contaminants that might be from like beauty products and things like that get into the wastewater.
Okay, and those are difficult to remove?
They these are actually, none of the pharmaceuticals or personal care products are regulated by EPA right now. So they are removed incidentally in many ways. Our water treatment plant does a really good job of removing them through our granular activated carbon process. But in terms of the wastewater treatment plant, there's not much, the plant has not been designed to remove them. We're just kind of seeing how they move through the system.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Kelly.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to have a drought report from Ms. Uhas. Good evening.
Madam Chair, members of the board, the drought continues to increase in severity, and it appears likely that our service area will soon enter extreme drought. Predictions from the National Weather Service, though, are still saying that these conditions will ease in July and August, which may allow us to get some monsoon moisture. So that's the good news there. And more positive side, our customers are responding very well to our drought messaging. They're actually doing an even better job at conserving water than the graph on the right shows you. As of April 16th, 1 week after I created this graph, our customers have used 12 million gallons less than they did last year for this same time period. And that is despite receiving less, an inch less rainfall than they had during that same time period. So our customers are very responsive to the drought, and they're doing the right thing. And so at this point, our plan is to continue with our drought messaging and reminding our customers to keep up the good work. And I'd be happy to answer any more questions if you have them.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Thank you, Ms. Uhas. Thank you very much. Pray for rain. Let's move along to our regular agenda now and make a motion to approve the March 21st, 2018 minutes. Is there a second? There's a motion and a second. All those in favor say yes. Yes. Opposed? The motion carries. Then we move to proclamations and awards. This is the quarterly employee recognition awards. So I will read the names and the award, and I'm going to ask you all to come up and line up behind staff here, and then we would like for you, and get your money, I believe, and then we'd like to have you come by so we can tell you thank you. So when I read your name and tell how much you're going to get, come on down. The first is Cristela Sanchez. Ms. Sanchez is recognized for her efforts to communicate with an elderly customer who called for assistance but who could not be understood. Ms. Sanchez overcame this by using GIS data to track down a neighbor of the customer whom she enlisted as a translator. As a result, Ms. Sanchez was able to address the customer's issue and get him signed up for the Water Authority's Low-Income Assistance Program. Ms. Sanchez will receive $300 and 8 hours of vacation time. Next is Tammy Garcia, Michael Braniff, Jose Garcia, David Conkle, Matthew Duran, Aiden Flores, James Menard, Joseph Cave, Joshua Sena. Tammy. They will each receive $150, and it says all the rest $100 each, so I'm not sure what that means. These members of the warehouse group are recognized for their role in a complex and ultimately successful upgrade of the Water Authority's work order tracking and inventory management system. Oh, now I know what it means. Tammy Garcia is especially recognized for her leadership in this endeavor. That's why Tammy gets $50 more. Thank you all. Charles Lee will receive $250 plus 8 hours of time. Mr. Lee is recognized for his ingenuity and initiative in finding a solution to a vexing voltage problem in the electrical system at the new preliminary treatment facility at the Southside Water Reclamation Plant. Thank you. Victor Sanchez, Nikhil Lucas Kamat, Donald Benavidez, Carlos Sena, Jacob Gonzalez, Michael Brown, Victor, Nicole, I'm killing this, Nicole, Donald, each receive $50, and Carlos, Jacob, Michael receive $150 each. These individuals are recognized for line spotting work that avoided a claim against the utility for about $4,000. Thank you all. Arlo Gonzalez Sr. Mr. Gonzalez is recognized for taking the initiative over a holiday weekend to modify work plans for a sewer blockage in order to mitigate severe traffic problems on Central Avenue related to an accident on Interstate 40. Mr. Gonzalez will receive $250 plus 8 hours of vacation time. Thank you. Erica Jaramillo. Ms. Jaramillo is recognized in her role as hearing organizer for saving the Water Authority more than $40,000 in unwarranted claims against the utility over the past several years. Ms. Jaramillo will receive $200 plus 8 hours of vacation time. Leon Torres. Mr. Torres is recognized for going beyond the normal requirements of his job description to ensure the smooth startup and operation of the new dewatering facility at the Southside Water Reclamation Plant. Mr. Torres will receive $150. Lyman Waller. Mr. Waller is recognized for the innovative engineering solutions he employed to ensure successful completion of the dewatering facility project at the Southside Watering Reclamation Plant. Mr. Waller receives $200 plus 4 hours of vacation time. Thank you. Robert Manjares and Justin Sample. These individuals are recognized for work on the utility's fiber optic network that has resulted in a vastly improved system that will save the utility $48,000 annually. For this, they will receive $150 each. Armida Magianis. Ms. Magianis is recognized for going above and beyond her regular job duties in customer service to assist other work teams, improve processes, and train fellow employees. She will receive $200 plus 4 hours of vacation. Brian Nguyen. Mr. Nguyen is recognized for his excellent problem solving in retrieving critical lost data from the utility's image repository database and for creating custom computer programs and innovative processes to improve utility efficiency. Mr. Nguyen will receive $150. Michael Garcia, Stephen Maldonado, Elias Ortiz, Leo, I have no idea. Thank you. Teodora Meyer will each receive $100. These individuals are recognized for saving the utility more than $12,000 by undertaking a complex pump maintenance operation themselves rather than contracting out. Thank you all. Nick Romero.
He's at where he's at the plant working.
Good for him. Mr. Romero is recognized for the part he played in successfully bringing online the new dewatering facility at the Southside Water Reclamation Plant. Mr. Romero will receive $50. Joseph Jaramillo. Mr. Jaramillo is also recognized for his role in successfully bringing online the new dewatering facility at the Southside Water Reclamation Plant. He will receive $100. Andrew DeMarcus. Mr. DeMarcus is recognized for going above job requirements to assist fellow employees with fleet-related issues. He will receive $150. Brian Haken. He's recognized for taking on additional responsibilities to ensure successful implementation of a new module in the utilities work order and inventory management system. He will receive $150. Linda Quintanilla. Ms. Quintanilla is recognized for taking the initiative to work with coworkers and vendors to redesign and upgrade processes related to the purchasing and processing of chemicals. She will receive $150. Thank you. I hope you enjoy this employee recognition as much as we do. We appreciate seeing you and knowing what you do, so thank you. Come on up. We'd like to shake your hands. This is one of the best parts of the meetings. We really appreciate it, and thank you all again for everything you do to make the Water Authority great. Thank you. Next agenda item is announcements and communications. The next scheduled meeting is May 23rd, 2018. Oh, I missed public comment. I'll do these first. 2018 at 5 p.m. in the Vincent E. Griego Chambers. And customers wishing to participate in this year's customer conversations on source water protection can visit our website at www.abcwua.org to register. All meetings are at 6 p.m. on the following dates and locations. Are you writing down, taking notes? May 1st at the South Valley Senior Center. May 8th is already full at the Mazana Mesa Multi-Generational Center. But May 16th at the Don Newton Taylor Ranch Community Center, and May 30th at North Domingo Baca Multi-Generational Center. And now we'll get back in order. Public comment. How many do we have signed up this evening? 3. So each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak, with a warning at 2.5 minutes. Would you call the first speaker?
Yes, ma'am. Dave McCoy, followed by Harold Gill.
Good evening, Mr.
evening.
McCoy.
Dave McCoy, Citizen Acture. The Consumer Confidence Report ought to make some mention of the Kirtland jet fuel spill and aviation gas spill. I know that's prospective, but needs to be in there. On April 12th, I received response to a New Mexico Environment Department records request. There were dozens of records, many of which you folks probably haven't seen. 2 major items were received that both rejected the 2014 RCRA facility investigation and the 2017 RCRA facility investigation. These documents were never seen by the public, and they haven't been seen by you either, probably, unless you tell me otherwise. The August 14th, 2014 review comments listed many deficiencies. The RFI was withdrawn, but the NMED never released its review of why it was withdrawn. I think Ryan Flynn probably buried that. On January 19th, 2018, a draft notice of disapproval was completed. It totaled 95 different concerns. The notice of disapproval never saw the light of day. It was not on the NMED website. It talks about extensive data gaps and how incomplete the RFI is. I sent these public records to Rick Sheehan. In total, there were many other than just these 2. And one of the things that is going on now is they're turning towards monitored natural attenuation. That means the Air Force has discovered just how costly this is going to be to deal with this problem, and so they go to the minimum that they think they can get away with. On page 3, item 4 of this January 19th, 2018 draft notice of disapproval, it discusses the lack of a functional Sentinel well for the Veterans Administration production well, and quote, great concerns about the westward migration of contaminants towards the VA hospital well. So that's a real concern here. And you know, these kind of things need to be laid out, brought forward. So, you know, I'm asking who is responsible at the NMED for burying this kind of information? Other matters that I've been concerned about for some time, there's no organization chart between the Air Force and all the entities that are at work and at play at this. No contact lists, you know, other than Kate Linus. You know, so really the public is not informed on this. There aren't minutes kept of technical group meetings. There aren't videotapes or anything else kept for public meetings with the Air Force. And you got a mess on your hands, folks. Thank you.
And the next speaker?
Harold Gill, followed by Elaine Hubbard.
Thank you. Good evening.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Harold Gill. I just got a water meter that shocked me when I got the price of $7,400 and some for a water meter to be installed by the city. I couldn't believe it. I would like a response from somebody up there to tell me why I paid $1,700 more for my water meter than other people have. I live up off 81st Street. It's a SAD 227. There's 2 water towers, probably a half a mile from me. I believe that's where we're getting our water. I'd still like to know why I am paying $1,700 more than anybody else in the city. I am a citizen of Albuquerque. I pay $8,600 a year in taxes in a area that nobody, you never see a cop, you see a lot of water authority, because I seen 7 trucks up there yesterday, 7 trucks at those towers yesterday. It's just disgusting to me. I mean, because I'm the guy paying. Did I have to pay more than somebody else? $1,700 more. I'm a retired man, you know, and I would like an answer. They told me I'm not in the right area or something, but I live in Albuquerque, and I pay my taxes in Albuquerque, and I pay my water bills on time. This is for a piece of property that's next to me that I bought. It's a vacant piece of property.
Thank you, sir. If you would like, if you'll give your name and your...
I did. This lady took care of that for me.
Okay. They will contact you and talk with you and see what's going on.
I hope you guys all got to pay that $1,700 too, and you'll see how it feels.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
It's not easy.
Commissioner Caseta.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I would like to know why. You know,
I'm not in an area.
that's the area where I live, and I would like to know why you were paying that. And so when you give them that information, my office would also like to know why.
Could I say one more thing?
Yes, sir.
When I bought that piece of property, it cost me $45,000. I had to pay $38,000 over that $45,000 to put the water in, to put the sewers in, to put the roads in, to put the electric in. I think I should be saving $1,700 after I paid, and everybody up in that area paid that $38,000 over and above what they paid for their lots. and one of the highest taxed areas in the city.
Thank you, sir.
You're
And that
welcome.
is a standard development. When someone develops a lot, they pay individually for all those services. So thank you, sir. Appreciate that. And our last speaker?
Elaine Hubbard.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Hubbard.
Good afternoon. Saturday is Earth Day, so my recommendation would be to celebrate it by entering into and developing a resiliency plan with the city and the county. This suggestion, while not new, surely resonates with the graphic that's still up on the computer screens from the drought report. As you can see, drought is bearing down on Bernalillo County. And while the drought only uses, or the drought advisory is only issued when it affects Bernalillo County, my recommendation would be to look at the entire watershed, because that's where we derive our surface water, and that's really what impacts the drought. I forgot to have Luz turn on the overhead. But I wanted to show what the utility uses for the drought management strategy is the hydrographic average between 1971 and 1998. And so I looked at that figure and then 1999 to 2017 to see whether or not there was any change in what goes across Ottawa Gauge. And they're substantially different. If we get a picture, I can show it to you how much different. But those are the kinds of things that I think need to be being looked at. Okay, so you can see that the blue line is the earlier 1971 to 98, and the red line shows how much reduced that has been for river flows on an annual basis past Ottawa Gauge. So there are a number of metrics other than just how much you pump in a given year, and that was not on the water report today. It was how much water, less water we had used, but the metric is groundwater pumped. And that's an important metric because the more we pump, the more we have to pay back to the river flows. The less we pump, the less depletions. Last year, the state engineer found that for the utilities pumping, there was a debt of over 15,000 acre-feet that had to be paid back from the Abiquiu Reservoir over and above what had been poured into the river from the wastewater treatment plant and the water rights. So again, looking at the metrics, when you hopefully have enough time with the next year's objectives and goals, that will be looked at, as well as when the groundwater plan is developed, so that we look at more metrics than just GPCD and the amount of pumping. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I believe that concludes our speakers for this evening. So next on the agenda is the introduction or first reading of legislation. So we're going to begin with both items A and G. A is repealing Section 6, the Albuquerque-Bernalillo County Water Utility Authority Selection Advisory Committee Ordinance to coincide with the adoption of the County of Bernalillo Procurement Ordinance. And G is the adopting the County of Bernalillo Purchasing Ordinance for the Albuquerque-Bernalillo County Water Utility Authority. And Mr. John Daniels will explain this to us, please. Good evening.
Good evening. Madam Chair, members of the Water Authority Board, my name is John Daniels. I am the Chief Purchasing Officer for the Water Authority. This evening, I'll be presenting to you 2 items related to procurement for your consideration. The first item is an ordinance repealing the section of Water Authority Code regarding rules related to selection of engineers and architects. And the second is a resolution which does actually 3 things. First thing it does is it rescinds a previous resolution making all Water Authority purchases subject to the City of Albuquerque procurement code, and that would be effective July 1st. Second thing it does is it adopts a newly enacted ordinance that was enacted by Bernalillo County for procurement, and that would govern the legal framework for procurement for the Water Authority. And then finally, what that resolution will do is it will set forth contract approval requirements as it pertains to contracts executed by the Water Authority as well. Just to give you a little bit of background about where this has come from, state statute creating the Water Authority provides that the Water Authority can adopt either city, county, or state procurement processes. Water Authority procurement staff has been taking a serious look at the legal authority presented by using any of those procurement options. While doing that, and coincidentally, the county procurement group, having just adopted a home rule charter, had begun the process of drafting an entirely new procurement ordinance. They actually at that time approached the Water Authority to see if there was any interest on our side to partner in that endeavor. We saw the benefits of that opportunity, and we worked alongside with the county to develop their ordinance. At this time, I'd like to introduce a few of the people who worked on that ordinance. Lisa Cedillo-White, the Deputy County Manager for General Services for Bernalillo County. Dinah Esquivel, the Procurement and Business Services Director for the county. I actually have her come here tonight in support of this. We also worked with attorney on their staff, Eric Schuler. Peter O., our general counsel, was part of that committee reviewing that ordinance. And Kathy Sanchez is a retired state purchasing office, I'd say expert, also worked on that procurement ordinance. Just to talk about that ordinance in general, I'll do that when the resolution comes up later on in the agenda. But as far as the repeal of the Selection Advisory Committee ordinance, which is the item before you at this moment, let's see. That ordinance needs to be repealed because it's already covered by a portion of the Bernalillo County ordinance. So by adoption of the Bernalillo County Procurement Ordinance, the Water Authority has determined it no longer necessary to establish a separate ordinance governing selection of engineers, architects, and other related professional services. County of Bernalillo's ordinance establishes its own legal requirements regarding composition of the Selection Advisory Committee and for selection of firms for engineering, architectural, and other related professional services. So with that, on this item, I'll stand for any questions.
I don't see any questions.
Okay. Well, so in addition to that, if we'll vote on the other item as well, again, I can't say it any better than what Lisa and Dinah said in adoption of the Bernalillo County ordinance. Just wanted to, confirm with everybody or express to everybody that procurement ordinance was drafted using the New Mexico State Procurement Code as its foundation, and it provides for fair and equitable treatment of all persons involved in public procurement. To maximize the purchasing value of public funds, provides transparency and accountability, and safeguards for maintaining procurement system and quality. Therefore, Water Authority has determined it operationally and functionally beneficial to adopt the Bernalillo County Procurement Ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels. We appreciate that.
Yes.
Any questions? Commissioner O'Malley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank our folks, Lisa and Dinah, for the work that you've done. It was a big task to undertake, but you just kept at it, and we appreciate it, and I'm glad that, we've got a partner in this as well. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And I believe this will be voted on at the next meeting. So thank you, sir, for the explanations.
Thank you.
And next is item 018-4, amending the Albuquerque-Bernalillo County Water Utility Authority Water and Sewer Rate Ordinance to update the utility financial policy to establish a Water 2120 fund, update the minimum committed expenditures to $40 million in the Water and Sewer Rehabilitation Fund, et cetera, et cetera. Mr. Sanchez, are you going to discuss this?
We have a speaker.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we only had 3.
Oh, for this item.
Oh, all
Elaine
right.
Hubbard.
Okay, I apologize. My apologies, Ms. Hubbard. I didn't realize that.
Thank you, Chair, board members. I just want to say that I think it's great that the base amount is being raised to 40 million, so that will be the new base rate. In the financial plan, in the budget for this year, it's still 37. So when the document says that it's consistent with the financial plan, what I would suggest is the financial plan needs to be moved up to incorporate that 40 million. Also, there's some confusion between the financial plan and the resolution for spending. The financial plan for this year calls for 78.5 million to be spent. The resolution calls for 84.3. So there's a discrepancy of several $1 million in that, and I think it would behoove the utility to straighten out that discrepancy. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions? Thank you. Yes, Mr.
Madam Chair,
Sanchez.
very quickly, the summary of this ordinance. By ordinance, we're required to adjust the utility expansion charges, the water supply charge, and the septic hauler and toilet, chemical toilet rates by what's known as the Engineering News Index. And this year, that's 2.6%. So those fees would go up by that amount. The history of that is we review these charges every other year with our rate consultant. And some time ago, the development community came to this board and said, we'd prefer that you do these incremental adjustments than these wide-ranging adjustments. So that's the reason for these annual adjustments to these charges. Additionally, as Ms. Hubbard mentioned, we're raising the minimum amount for basic rehab from 30 million to 40 million. Even though we anticipate spending 55 million next year, we never know what emergencies might occur. So we can't really list the entire amount because then that would restrict our spending for emergencies. Additionally, we're planning to create or proposing to create a Water 2120 fund, which will contribute $2 million a year towards beginning in FY 2020. As you may recall, we contribute $2 million a year currently to an extraordinary rate reserve in the event of revenue swings due to conservation. That fund will be at about $9 million now. So we feel we can start moving that $2 million annually into 2120 because we have some very expensive reuse projects we're going to have to start building. So we'd like to start building that fund. Additionally, the only other change is there's a post-issuance compliance policy attached to the rate ordinance, which typically is required to comply with changing federal laws and outstanding bond issues. So that is amended to conform with that. I'd stand for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Sanchez. Any questions? Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. So moving right along to 018.5, authorizing, I've lost Mr. Roth, there he is, authorizing the execution and delivery of a loan and subsidy agreement by and between the Albuquerque-Bernalillo County Water Utility Authority and the New Mexico Finance Authority for the Carnuel Phase 2B project. Mr. Roth.
Madam Chair, members of the board, items 7C and D are related to each other. This ordinance and resolution authorizes a loan subsidy agreement between the Water Authority and the New Mexico Finance Authority. This is to fund Phase 2B of the Carnuel Water Systems Improvement Project in an amount of $1 million. 75% of that will be subsidy. This project will install about 5,000 feet of linear water lines in the high priority area.
Thank you. Questions? Thank you, Mr. Roth. I appreciate it. I believe we're going to address the next two items as one. That would be E and F, appropriating funds for operating the Albuquerque-Bernalillo County Water Utility Authority for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2018 and ending June 30, 2019, and appropriating funds for the capital implementation of the Albuquerque-Bernalillo County Water Utility Authority for the fiscal year. Mr. Sanchez.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. I'm pleased to present the proposed FY19 operating and capital budgets. If you may recall, Mr. Roth, in his presentation last month, gave you a brief description of what we call our strategic planning, budgeting, and improvement process, which is a mouthful. But it's quite unique in government, and it's very unique in the utility sector. And we go through a 5-year goals, 1-year objectives. We actually do a performance plan. Quarterly, Mr. Roth gives you some indicators about how we're doing against that plan. We actually translate that into employee expectations, and that's how every employee in the Water Authority gets evaluated each year to make sure we're carrying out these priorities. We do benchmarking against other utilities that are similar in size and configuration. We've embarked on something called effective utility management, which is the best practice in the utility sector. We do our annual budget. We survey our customers biannually. And as you know, we have a technical customer advisory committee that meets monthly, provides input and advice. And we have 4 customer conversations each year by quadrant where we actually engage customers in our operations, soliciting their input and evaluation. And this process helps us become a better utility. And hopefully during this presentation, I'll give you a few examples of how that's occurred. In terms of budget assumptions for FY19, there is no rate increase proposed. That's good news. We don't plan to have any growth in new positions. We're currently at 633 FTEs. We plan to continue that. We don't anticipate much growth in the service area. We're assuming, given the drought, our consumption level will be at about 128 gallons per day per capita. Our capital spending will increase by $3 million. If you recall, the board approved a ramp up of capital spending. We plan to continue that. The rate reserve will increase by $2 million. Currently it sits at $7 million. That will go to $9 million. Again, that's an extraordinary rate reserve to deal with rate fluctuations due to conservation, to not require a rate increase as an emergency measure. Our fund balance will meet the 1/12 of operating expenses as a target. In terms of FY18 selected accomplishments, we complied with all EPA requirements that were imposed as a result of the Southside Reclamation Plant. We received will receive what's known as the Silver Peak Performance Award from the National Association of Clean Water Agencies. We met the conservation goal of 128 gallons per capita. We received the American Water Works Association Exemplary Source Water Protection Award. We began the Los Padillas project in the far South Valley. And what's unique about that is the actual construction is being done by our crews as opposed to contracting out. And what that's doing is allowing that limited money to be spread further, if you will, in terms of the project. We contributed an additional $3 million from reserve fund to capital needs. About 3 years ago, Commissioner O'Malley amended our operating budget, which said if we met our budget and exceeded it with revenue and met our target of operating reserves, any additional amount would have to be spent by capital, not absorbed into operating expenses. So that actually happened this last fiscal year. So we're spending more in capital spending than we had planned. And lastly, and most importantly, our surface water plant produced 70% of our water supply.
Thank you, Mr. Sanchez. Councilor Pena has a question.
I'm sorry, Mr. Sanchez, for interrupting your presentation, but you know, you were talking about the Los Padillas, and I know there's still another phase that has to be done, you know, so I really appreciate this board and really getting it done. As you know, the water and the sewer and everything that was needed over there, that's a community that's been in dire need for a long time. I apologize, but I haven't kept up. I know that because of this next phase, you know, there's additional funding that we're going to have to seek, and I think you have some of that in this budget. I had remembered that there were two representatives, Representative Romero and Riolova, who said that they were going to try to secure some additional dollars to partner on this. Were they able to secure any money during this legislative session?
Madam Chair, Councilor Pena, we did not receive any capital outlay directly for this project. We have submitted an application for funding from what's called the Water Trust Board
Oh, great.
in the amount of $1.4 million. They meet May 9th, so the jury's out on whether we'll receive additional funding.
Oh, great.
We're optimistic that some of that will be allocated to it, but we'll see.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Ms.
Thank you, Counselor. Thank you, Mr. Sanchez.
Madam Chair, continuing on, as you can see by this graph, we're decreasing demand and increasing our resiliency. You can see that our customer accounts have literally doubled over time. Our consumption has dropped significantly. And most importantly, if you look at our supply from the 90s to current, again, 70% of our water is surface water. So we're rebuilding the aquifer, if you will. We're maximizing our plant capacity to the extent that by permit we can divert and treat and supply that, we do that. So that is certainly preserving our groundwater as a drought supply. And as you know, we plan to get into aquifer storage and recovery to further that, if you will. So our effectiveness is improving in terms of discharge permit violations, estimated meters, and leak detection. An example, in FY12, we had 17 violations. This last fiscal year, 0. Some of that is related to the improvements in the water reclamation facility, and a lot of it is based on our employees, their productivity, and managing a reclamation facility that's undergoing $250 million in new infrastructure and managing it on a day-to-day basis, treating and delivering 55 million gallons of treated wastewater back to the river and meeting permit.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Councilor Davis.
Mr. Sanchez, I just want to interrupt and just call that out. That's a pretty significant accomplishment and one that bears not only on our employees, but it's a great management plan as well. This is, as we all know, these violations not only hit us with a lot of workload that comes with them, but it's also some big impacts to our ratepayers down the road for things that are being done. Really well done over time to bring those down to 0 last year, and that's to everybody working on this project should be called out as a real accomplishment for the Water Utility Authority. We don't see that hardly anywhere ever, and I think that's to be called out. Thank you.
Thank you. And as Mr. Kelly mentioned earlier, I mean, the sampling we do is second to none, and the compliance we have to produce is probably one of the most stringent compliance orders in the country. So, thank you. Estimated meters as another measure of effectiveness. 6 years ago, we had over 4,500 meters that were not operating properly. The result is bills that were not accurate, customers being overcharged. Today, they're in the hundreds. So that's another significant accomplishment. And I would say this is a result of benchmarking, comparing ourselves to other utilities and what best practice was there. Water system inspection. As we ask our customers to conserve, we're trying to do the same thing to our distribution system. So annually, we inspect about 1/3 of our entire water supply system, our distribution system, and the result is over the last 2 years, we've saved over 200 million gallons of water through leak detection and being proactive. And you can see the U.S. median is literally inconsequential. Most utilities do not worry about water loss. Here, we're very concerned about it. As we're asking our customers to do more, we're trying to step up and do as much as we can. Our operating costs are decreasing. Our days away from work, insurance claims, our water operations and cost per account, wastewater operations and maintenance cost per account, and days cash on hand. Days away from work. As you know, we have an injury incentive program where we're actually telling our employees, if you meet targets, we'd rather give you a portion of that than pay temp workers, doctors, lawyers, etc. You can see we went from 850 plus days away from work to literally 30 days over this time horizon. And these are measures that are contributing to efficiencies and helping us manage more with less. It represents a 98% decrease. Insurance claims. The nature of our business is we have insurance claims, for everything from auto accidents to sewer overflows, but we've realized a 70% decrease in cost and the occurrence of claims. Our operation and maintenance cost per account, you can see the median is in orange and the green is the water authority. We're about 40% better than the median across the country when we compare ourselves. And the last customer opinion survey we did, 97% of our customers said they were satisfied with the reliability and availability of water to their home or business. On the wastewater side, we're about 50% better than the U.S. median. And going back to the customer survey, 94% of our customers said they were satisfied with reliability and availability of wastewater to their home or business. Days cash on hand, some of you will remember the days when we had 15 days of cash on hand. Our financial picture was very dim. Today it's over a year. So we've turned the corner with regard to days cash on hand. Our customer service is improving. Our customer engagement, customer accounts per employees, and we have the highest customer approval rate in the last decade. We talk often about customer conversations. Tonight you announced the May meetings. If you look at the mustard color, those are the most recent feedback ratings from those who attended. Most of them feel like it was time well spent. We wanted their input. They'd participate again, and the meetings allowed for their feedback. So this is also unique in the utility industry. Most utilities do not engage their customers. They're afraid of them, quite frankly. Frank has recently gone out and presented this customer engagement, and most utilities are in awe about it, thinking, where did you get the courage to go out and ask customers how you're doing? And generally, this is becoming a best practice. So we're ahead on the curve in this regard.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Davis has a question, Mr. Sanchez.
Mr. Sanchez, remind me, I know we had a presentation on this previously. How many customers participated in this, say, in the last year?
Typically, there's about 80 per engagement.
Right.
About 200 a year.
And out of curiosity, and you can probably help me with this, is there anything notably different we did this year to increase the feedback from customers and their sort of satisfaction with that process? I mean, notably, it's much better this year than in previous, even though it wasn't bad really to start with.
Madam Chair, Councilor Davis and Frank may add to this, but this last year, it was about asset management. How are we doing to protect our assets, and what feedback do you have for us to do better? So each year, there's a different topic. So this year, it'll be about source water protection. And depending on the topic, the engagement levels differ, I guess. And Frank may want to add to that.
We talked about asset management previously. Councilor Davis, we have talked about asset management in previous customer conversations, and including last year, and we saw more satisfaction and engagement around and understanding around asset management, what we're doing to improve our operations, service delivery, and the overall conditions of our assets. So that shows just over time, people understanding what we have to do with our assets.
And if I may make a comment, I've been to a few of these, and it's amazing to me that each year you add new people. It's, sometimes in what we do, we only see the same people over and over and over again, but there are new people who come out, and they're always amazed at what the Water Authority does, because they think it's just a normally city water department, and they don't know what all is done. So I think it's a great sharing of information. So thank you guys for doing this. It's a great project.
Well, Madam Chair, continuing on, with regard to customer accounts per employee, here the higher values are more significant. You can see our employees are handling more accounts than the U.S. median across the sector. And with regard to the customer opinion survey, 94% of our customers were basically satisfied with the overall services by the Water Authority. Our customer opinions have gone up over the last 10 years, 12 to 18 percentage points with regard to effectiveness of overflows, repair leaks, sewer lines, water lines. Obviously, we want to get better, but we are improving, and customers, I think, generally are recognizing that. With regard to fiscal year 19 selected priorities, we plan to continue our community outreach and communication. We feel like that's very important. We're going to do phase 2 of our Maximo asset management system. We're going to add the fleet management. We're going to go to full life cycle accounting of assets and preventive and condition monitoring of all of our assets. We plan to complete the clarifier odor control mitigation, which is essentially covering the exposed sludge at a reclamation facility, which is the last piece that generates odors. So we've made that commitment, and we plan to get that done. We're going to begin construction of what we're calling the Consolidated Customer Service and Field Operations Facility. Currently, our customers are telling us coming downtown is very difficult. Parking is difficult if it's available. It's expensive. We have a field operations at Pino Yards in conjunction with the city of Albuquerque that's kind of overcrowded. We have a West Side facility that's kind of overcrowded and it's leased space. What we're hoping to do over time is consolidate these functions, bring all of that together so our employees are better equipped, have better equipment, better facilities, and they're more productive, and accommodating customers in a location where they can literally drive up and drive out. That's the long-term plan. As Mr. Kelly mentioned, we're going to have the Source Water Protection Plan update to include pharmaceuticals and personal care products. We're hoping to extend the Los Padillas project to phase C in the other areas and get that completed if we get some additional funding. We've been engaged in something called a vulnerability assessment and cybersecurity evaluation. Many utilities across the country are being attacked by hackers and literally shutting down. And so we've been in the process to evaluate our vulnerability, and we plan to have a report and begin implementation of that. And last but not least, we're going to increase our solar footprint. We currently have 2.5 megawatts of solar. We're thinking big. We're planning additional 5 megawatts, and we think that's realistic. We're not sure how the financing would occur. Historically, we've done that through power purchase agreements. In this case, it may make sense to do it through P&M savings. So we'll know more as we go through this process, and we'll certainly come back to the board. With regard to Water 2120, we plan to complete the environmental plan, a draft of the groundwater management plan, begin development of a reuse plan, and as I mentioned earlier, create the 2120 capital fund. So the general fund is about $225 million. The lion's share of it is water related in terms of revenues, wastewater, and miscellaneous. Miscellaneous is fees for lab fees. We do lab testing for others, compost sales, and interest earnings. Our working capital balance has turned the corner as well. You can see from FY16, we started with a negative working capital balance, and today we're above the 112 requirement. With regard to expenses in FY19, believe it or not, we're actually 3.7 million less than our current fiscal year budget, with an additional 3 million going to capital, an additional 2% in expenses. The lion's share goes to debt service, wages and benefits, operating expenses. Transfer to other funds is basically capital, our risk, and workers' comp. And last but not least, our operating ratio is another efficiency measure. When you compare this against the U.S. median, you can tell we're substantially below that. So this is another measure of how efficient you are in operating the utility. If there's no questions on the operating budget, I'll move to the capital budget.
I don't think I see any questions. Oh, there is one question. Councilor Davis.
Mr. Sanchez, and we can get into this in the next reading as well, but I did notice in the report that personnel expenses for the projected year include a 2% step increase, a 15% increase in health benefit costs, which all the municipalities are using now. But total personnel costs decreased by 1.2 million compared to last year. That's pretty impressive, but how did we make that math work?
Madam Chair, Councilor Davis, through retirements.
Okay.
High dollar employees are leaving.
Perfect.
Other employees are coming in, not at that, quite that same level.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. Moving on to the FY19 capital improvement plan. It calls for $84 million. $55 million is planned for basic rehab. Other major initiatives, $15 million for the clarifiers we talked about, $5 million for the first phase of the customer services and field operations facility, $4.8 million to replace aging vehicles, $2 million for AMI, automated infrastructure meters. Our target is to be at 50% this next year. That's over 100,000 meters. We have 210,000. $1 million for steel line replacement, $350,000 for renewable energy projects, and $300,000 for the 2120 fund. This next graph shows you how staggering the increases have been. Not quite enough, but still staggering over time, our contributions to our capital spending. And I'd point out that FY17 is higher than FY18 because of the additional $3 million that I talked about earlier and a state grant of $1 million for ASR. But the yellow line shows the cash ramp up of spending that the board authorized each year. So as we're going forward, we plan to continue that ramp up. This graph shows it through 2028. But clearly our capital spending must go up. And I'd point out that sometimes we forget our capital spending creates jobs. Next year, the $84 million would create almost 1,300 jobs in the community, in addition to the 633 jobs internally. I'd stand for any questions.
I'm sorry, Commissioner O'Malley.
I don't have any questions. I just have a comment, and the report and all these successes, I believe, can really be attributed to your leadership, Mr. Manager, so thank you very much.
Madam Chair, Commissioner O'Malley, I wish I could take credit for that, but we have a lot of talented employees that work for the utility, and you see a lot of them each meeting, and a lot of them that get recognized every quarter.
Right, but you're the boss.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's it. Any more questions? Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Sanchez. I think we have item H with Mr. Warren, authorizing the removal of certain uncollectible accounts from the Albuquerque-Bernalillo County Water Utility Authority accounts receivable records FY 2013 and prior. Mr. Warren.
Madam Chair, members of the board, we're seeking your approval for removal from our AR system of some doubtful accounts. Most of these accounts come from a legacy billing system that were transferred over in 2009 to CC&B. The last payments we received on most of these accounts were anywhere from 2003 to 2008. Some of them are for UEC, some of them have been city abatements where they've removed the actual houses on the property. We've had a concerted effort to really go through and clean up all of our accounts. Currently, our outstanding, our 30, 60, 90 is at 1.32%. Industry average is 11%, and the upper quartiles is 6%, and we're at 1.32%. So this is kind of that last, some of those legacy accounts that we've really been working through to clean up and get caught up. In addition, for this past year, we've collected $700,000 on some of these other accounts, and this is just, these are some of those last stragglers that the probability of collecting on them, I mean, is just not very likely. And I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
And then last on the introductions is R 1816, delegation of authority for declaration of surplus and the disposition of surplus from the Albuquerque-Bernalillo County Water Utility Authority public property. Mr. Daniels.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the Water Authority Board again. Next item for your consideration this evening is a resolution requesting delegation of authority to create declarations for surplus property to a 3-person standing committee. This proposal aligns with the Water Authority with the governing state statutes for property disposition, which are applicable to special districts like the Water Authority. Until now, the Water Authority has followed the City of Albuquerque Procurement Code guidelines for property disposition. However, municipalities are treated differently under state statute than a special district such as the Water Authority. This will align the Water Authority with those applicable statutes. With that, I'll stand for any questions. Thank you.
There is no consent agenda this evening, so we'll move right along to approvals. First is R1810, establishing one-year objectives for the Albuquerque-Bernalillo County Water Utility Authority for fiscal year 2019 to meet 5-year goals. Mr. Roth.
Madam Chair, members of the board, the goals and objectives for fiscal year 19 were introduced at the March meeting. This is recommended for approval. Mr. Mark Sanchez did a wonderful job at talking about how the goals and objectives are integrated with the budget, showing many examples of how we're closing gaps with the benchmarking process. I'll stand for any questions.
Yes, Councilor Pena.
approval.
There's a motion and a second for approval. All those in favor say yes. Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Roth. And the next is reappointments to the Technical Customer Advisory Committee.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dave Hill and Scott Verhines have completed their first term. We're recommending that they continue on the Technical Customer Advisory Committee for a second term. They've done a wonderful job at providing input and advice to the Water Authority.
Thank you, Mr. Roth. I make a motion to approve. There's a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say yes. Yes. Motion carries. Seeing no more business, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.